Ladies and gentlemen, Tropic Thunder, one of the last great, really offensive comedies that was ever produced, really. From Robert Downey Jr. in blackface.
To be a moron.
To Ben Stiller playing a mentally issued human.
This head movie makes my eyes rain.
To more frequent use of the R word than Kramer did with another word that's not the R word on stage after Seinfeld finished.
Like really.
Not to mention Tom Cruise displaying extreme fat phobia, seen here.
G5.
I mean, in the modern era, people treat offense like the boogeyman, like something bad is going to happen if they hear something that is offended. Like a mean joke is Jack Nicholson coming through the door in The Shining. Here's mean words! It was only a matter of time before the woke death squads came for Tropic Thunder. But it really did come out of nowhere. I didn't see it, if I'm honest. I mean, just last week on my podcast, Cancel Me Now, check it out on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. It's great.
It's funny that he doesn't get much stick for the blackface thing.
It'll probably be coming.
And then 2 days later, it's getting cancelled. What just absolutely incredible, right? The reach of my podcast. It has several listeners. And leading the charge in the cancellation was, of course, the media. Robert Downey Jr. doesn't regret wearing blackface in Tropic Thunder. Now, that's a very, clicky title, isn't it? It's almost like he's up there saying, yes, I'm proud of the blackface. I will do it again. I'm doing it now. It doesn't really provide context. And if you haven't seen the movie, you probably think he was just doing it to be a dick. People who love the Marvel universe might have been just sitting there going, why is Iron Man in blackface? This makes no sense. And for those of you who don't know, if you wear blackface, then you are cancelled forever, unless you're a part of the mainstream media or you're a politician or you're someone that these perpetually offended people think of as an ally. I'm looking at you, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Tom Hanks, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, just to name a few. The media doesn't try and hunt these people down. There's no public outcry. Twitter people don't go into meltdown. Why? I don't know. It is weird, isn't it? And yet, they're coming after Robert Downey Jr. He didn't regret wearing blackface to play his role in Tropic Thunder and has spoken about the reaction people had to the movie. When asked on Joe Rogan's podcast if they could make Tropic Thunder today, this was Downey Jr.'s response.
Do you think that you could do Tropic Thunder today? Would that be possible?
Oh, you could do it.
That's a very good response. But isn't it sad and isn't it a shame that because everyone's terrified of being cancelled and having the money pulled out from underneath them and funding removed, that we can't make offensive comedy movies anymore? That is just such a ridiculous way for us to glide through our time on this earth, terrified of upsetting a very, very small minority of painful, annoying people that you would never listen to in a million years, but because it's on the internet, people seem to care. No wonder no good comedy movies have been made in the last decade. Like, can you think of one? There might be one or two, but that's it. And even Netflix stand-up specials, the only good ones are the ones that people got cancelled for. And it does my head in when people say, oh, mate, cancel culture isn't real. There are people whose whole entire day is trying to cancel people. That is what I would call a culture, mate. It's a fucking, maybe a subculture, but it's a culture. There is a difference between comedy and real life. As a comedian, we say things we don't mean all of the time. When I get on stage, I'm a completely different person to when I'm at home or I'm in public. They are two different people, all right? I will say horrible things about you, your family, where you come from, everything on stage, but in real life, I would be the most normal, polite human being that you would expect from normal society. So if you can't wrap your head around that there's a difference between comedy and real life, and you're allowed to take risks and you're allowed to tell horrible things when you're doing things for the purpose of laughter, then that's on you, you sad fuck. But on the topic of blackface, there is some very racist undertones to blackface. The reason it sort of came about in the first place was to make fun of black people and trying to demean them. And that's not cool. But that's also not what Robert Downey Jr. was doing at all. If anything, he was making fun of actors who will do anything to get a fucking Oscar. The role is obviously deliberately offensive. And it's also laughing at method actors and how fucking self-important they are. It's a very meta joke, if you will. I've never used that word before, but I used it then because I looked it up. The joke is how fucked up it is. Do you get it now? Now, this whole cancellation came from Ben Stiller, who directed the film, responding to a tweet. Now, Benny S., who tweeted at Ben Stiller, said this: at Ben Stiller, stop apologising for this movie. It was and still is funny AF, which means as fuck if you're an old piece of shit. Even funnier now with cancel culture the way it is. Now, Stiller, for some reason, decided to go on there and defend the movie. And fair enough. When you do tweet at someone who you see on the internet or on the screen, they often see it. So I get why he responded. And he said this: I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. I don't know who told you that. It's always been a controversial movie since we opened. Proud of it and the work everyone did on it. And what a refreshing take that is for someone not to apologise for comedy. Thank Christ Ben Stiller took that angle and didn't try to grovel and apologise. You know what pissed me off during my recent cancellation? A lot of people say, mate, I listened to your apology and I didn't think it was a good apology. There was no apology. There was no fucking apology. I'm not going to apologise for jokes. I would like to interrupt this video for this amazing merch plug. You know I've said me dick stinks for years, but I'm about to have a baby and it's time for capitalism to rear its ugly head. Forget me dick stinks. It's these baby bibs that say me butt stinks. Ladies and gentlemen, get them now at themumanddadshow.com. Go and do it. The link's down below. Here's the thing though. Ben Stiller did actually apologise for Tropic Thunder, or at least for a part of Tropic Thunder, some years ago. He said this: actually, Tropic Thunder was boycotted 10 years ago when it came out, and I apologised then. It was always meant to make fun of actors trying to do anything to win awards. I stand by my apology, the movie, Shaun White, and the great people of the Special Olympics. Now, he's referring to the actor who played another person who was very mentally handicapped. His name is Simple Jack. You may remember him. This is him.
Simple Jack, the story of a mentally impaired farmhand who can talk to animals, was a box office disaster.
Now, a lot of people looked at that and thought the exact same thing that Robert Downey Jr. said in blackface in the movie.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And then there's another level to this. That word, retard. You can't use the word retard. Mate, some people just need to be called retard. That's just, there's no way around that, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Most people watching this have a good sense of humour, but I know there's people around your lives who are just, they freak out about this shit. And I just wish I could just grab them by the collar and say, relax. This is comedy, mate. This isn't real life. This is pretend. It's only being said to make you laugh, not to hurt anyone. Tropic Thunder is a movie about how fucking annoying actors are, and the fact that they're Oscar hungry and they're just pieces of shit. And we know that's true. It's very bloody true. That's all it is. It's not a political statement. It's not a historical recount. It's nothing like that. It's just there to make people laugh and then go back to their lives. But no, you have to make a big song and dance about it because, I don't know, you got a God complex and you think you're important. Shut up. You're not important. I'll finish with this. The blackface in the movie was not out of hatred for black people. It was a joke, right? About method actors just being ridiculous, okay? Not offensive at all. No hatred. There's another film that other people from another race wore whiteface and there was no hatred there, but everyone was cool with it. Talking about white chicks. Everyone was fine with that. What about Sean Penn in I Am Sam? Everyone was cool with that. But Simple Jack, no, you can't do that. Professor X in the X-Men, he can walk.
No way.
And most offensive at all, Amy Schumer plays a comedian. Oh my God, that's horrifying. That's offensive to me. Ladies and gentlemen, movies aren't real and comedy doesn't need to be safe. If you can't deal with that, fuck you to the moon. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. Toodaloo. Au revoir. Bye-bye.